Heather,
It's you.
what just happened?
You must be one of them.
What did I do? And what do you mean by one of them?
You're in on this with that Claudia, aren't you?
Claudia? What about her? She asked me to find you, that's all.
So you are one of them.
Claudia did all that? Look, I was just hired to find you. I'm not on anybody's side. I don't know anything about this. Why don't you start by telling me what happened here? And that monster, what the hell was that?
I don't know any more than you do. All I know is that things are getting really screwy around here, and I got a weird feeling it's got something to do with me. Maybe you're just an innocent bystander, but I can't feel sorry for you because you dragged me into this. You know, if you hadn't found me...
What are you talking about? What's so special about you anyway?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be so confused, would I? But I know there's something. Something I've been running from and forgot for a long time. How did I remember that?
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Where are you going?
I'm taking the subway home.
What should I do?
Hell if I know.
Okay, so that is our reuniting with Douglas. Definitely off on the wrong foot, but can't quite say he's an untrustworthy figure yet. Seems more like he's about as lost as we were. So one thing I do want to point out here, well, two things. One is, once again, Heather's memory issues brought to the forefront. Game really wants you to keep that in mind, so I'm going to also bring that up as well. Also want to look at this advertisement, because this is amazing. Weird that an adult's asking a teenage girl what to do. It's very weird. But look at this, growing strong and healthy. Minmo! Cat food Minmo! Aw, you can do it, Minmo. We believe in you. That's why I want to play Signalis. Once again, like, cannot sing that game's praises enough. Absolutely adore it. Like, I think it was like that and Omori were the two best games I've played in probably the last 5 years. Wait, no. It's that, Omori, DMC5, and I guess the Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes. I quite enjoyed those Resident Evil remakes. And there's probably a bunch of other shit I'm forgetting. Isn't that one of the devs' cats? I think so. I think it's one of the devs' cats. I just love that advertisement so much. Hang in there, Minmo. But what I find interesting is a throwaway line from Douglas there. That monster. What the hell was that? So, if you remember Silent Hill 2, it's not a guarantee that every person will experience and see the same phenomenon. However, in Silent Hill 1, that was the case. So, because of that, we don't really know the rules that 3 is using for its use of the monster and symbolism, and who sees monsters and what that means. So, when Douglas is seeing monsters, and possibly the other world, is he seeing what Heather is seeing, or is it his own personal experience? I don't know. Well, I mean, I do have an idea. But, you know, for at this point, we don't know. And I do appreciate Silent Hill 3 kind of playing loose with some ideas from 1 and 2. Ha, I said I don't know, but I actually fucking know. Ha 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 ha! Ah ha ha! Alright, let's go here. There's a newspaper left on top of the ticket machine. Fatal accident at Hazel Street. At about 11 p.m. on the 4th, a man waiting on the platform at the Hazel Street station fell onto the tracks and was decapitated by the arriving St. Renata College bound train. The victim died instantly. While police have not yet determined whether the death was an accident or suicide, witnesses report that the victim did not look inebriated and seemed to jump off the platform deliberately. The victim's identity is still unknown. He was approximately 40 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, and was wearing a black jacket. This newspaper is 4 months old. What's it doing here now? I love Heather's determined and strong attitude. She's a badass. No, Heather's fucking great. Like, she's not quite Ellen Ripley, but you can see the little bits of that spunk. Like, she's not Ellen Ripley because she still has that vulnerability of she is just a kid at the end of the day, and obviously this shit's still freaking her out. And I do appreciate that. It's just because Heather has an attitude, she's not this invincible super person. She's a really great protagonist for a horror game that way. So, specifically about the subway jumper paper, this seems like a good opportunity to reiterate my theory on the notes in the Silent Hill games. More specifically, basically, the way I put it when we were discussing the dreamer and what the dream means is I think the town is creating the phenomenon seen by the characters specifically to feed off of a host, who we will call the dreamers, personals, turmoils, inner struggles, traumas, what have you. And is personally doing that to eat their negative emotion and discord. So, what's the point of this? Of the notes? Because you see that a lot in Silent Hill games. You see little notes that are about tragedies that have nothing to do at all with the main character. In my opinion, and I said this in 2, but I think it's worth repeating here, to a lesser degree, I think these are just little crumbs, these little minor residual traumas that could reflect on the dreamer and their state. It's more different situations that did happen that are more analogous to the person that is experiencing the dream. I'm not explaining this well. Let's give a specific example. So, the Walter Sullivan note in Silent Hill 2. When James is experiencing it, this is the very beginning of the game. The note of Walter Sullivan in Silent Hill 2 is about how he murdered 2 children, but claimed he was not responsible. I believe the exact quote was after Walter Sullivan was arrested for murdering 2 children, he said, "No, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. He did it. The Red Devil. I did it, but it wasn't me." So this kind of self-contradictory belief that he probably does 100% believe reflects James and how his journey started at the game. James's journey was about denial, acceptance, and overcoming that. And overcoming your own crimes. So having a note with the Walter Sullivan case of a serial killer delusional of their own actions, saying that a big red demon thing, the Red Devil, made him do it, but not me, I didn't do it, that reflects James's own delusion of his own actions. That's kind of what I'm getting at with the notes. It's not that the notes are entirely fabricated, it's more like the town's picking, the town or the spiritual entity, whatever. Well, I'll just say the town to refer to that from now on. It's picking specific events that will resonate with the dreamer. And Silent Hill 3 does something really interesting with that. Because, well, this does relate to Heather specifically, because as we're going to see about her beliefs on death, on her fears and anxiety around dying, what have you, it's also going to reflect, there's going to be notes going forward that don't seem to apply to Heather. And that's going to be interesting later. And I think this does reflect one other thing. But we have to find one other note in the subway to really kind of get the full oomph out of what I think that means for Heather. Let's read this. Subway map. So, this is kind of like an infamous part of the game because... Let's see, let's pull up the subway. Yeah. This is the kind of dungeon that can take you 20 minutes or 2 hours, depending on how good you are with environments that look exactly the same. It's that kind of character. It's that kind of environment. It's, you're not too great with those, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. The chains holding the doors together are secured to the bolt and nut. Nut screwed on tight. I can't turn it with my tiny baby hands. It's also easy to miss the map. I do think there's actually a few environments in this game that are very easy to miss the map. I don't know if that was a deliberate choice or not. I agree. I love Ellen Ripley, but Heather is awesome. Her character is very realistic, and it makes sense because she's a teenager. Yeah, it's like, I love Ellen Ripley, but it very much is like man writes woman, that kind of thing. Like, Ellen's really fun, but it's still like, I am tough female character because I have gun and shoot thing. Like, no shade to Terminator 2, but James Cameron did that exact same thing with Sarah Connor in that movie. Where it's like, I am tough, badass who take no shit, because I shoot the thing. Like, obviously I don't want to, like, because they're both great characters, but it's just like, they both kind of have that man writes woman thing going on. So this is mostly optional. I'm gonna pass blocked garbage, but I won't. No, there we go. Pass blocked with trash. I can't go through here. No, I want to examine this. Is someone sleeping here? All this red stuff around here is blood. This guy's not sleeping. Why am I not the least bit surprised? I think that nightmare's numbed my senses a little. A dead body. Can't really do anything for the poor guy. But yeah, it's like little shit like that. It's like, wow, Heather's such a good character. She's just like, you know, I'm getting real numb to this shit now, and it's really not good. Oop. Ah! Oh yeah, no, it's over here. Also, the dog enemies, we haven't talked about them. Unfortunately, their description in the Book of Lost Memories has a spoiler, so we will do that at the second half mark of the game. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know if this is going to be the stream where I do nothing but talk for an hour into a mic without moving at all, or if it's going to be how we start tomorrow. Either way, it's going to be a nightmare experience to watch, and I don't envy. Oh, save point. Alright, so let's see if we can get an optional cutscene. Oh, I love the silence here. Aha! I read this a long time ago. It's a nothing little occult magazine. It seemed like a bunch of crap to me. It's not so bad if you just read it for fun, though. The souls of those who died suddenly by suicide or accident don't realize they're dead. Sometimes they stay put and haunt that particular place. These spirits have lost their human senses and memories and can only keep replaying the pain and sadness of the moment they died. The pain can get so bad that they turn to humans for salvation, or they begrudge humans their lives. At such times, they can possess humans. Places known as famous suicide spots or high accident areas are often to blame. You should be careful when approaching such locations, especially on the day or at the time the death occurred. That is, if you don't want it to happen to you too. Interesting. So we got one more thing. What? Uh-oh. Hazel Street? Wasn't that the subway jumper? A ghost! So, now that we've seen the Occult magazine had that, I think, in my opinion, since if we're going on the idea that the notes are intentionally reflective of the dreamer and what's going to get the most reaction out of them, or be the most resonant to things that they don't enjoy, without getting into too many spoilers, I think the idea of that note is it's the idea that death is not the end, and that is a very scary thing when you think about it. The idea of death not being the end, and continued life being suffering itself. Keep that in mind. That's just, it's like, obviously it's like not that important, but I think it's a little tone setter for parts of Heather's arc and characterization going forward. James Sunderland's character kind of reminds me of Trevor Resnick, Christian Bale, from that movie The Machinist, where both characters have amnesia, and towards the end, they remember their crimes. I completely agree, and a part of me wonders if The Machinist, in part, was inspired by Silent Hill 2. Like, obviously, it's not the most original plot in the world. Like, there's a lot of stories that have similar ideas and themes, but man, like, that's just so close to Silent Hill 2. And it came out like 4 years later. I do wonder if there's a little bit of influence there. I don't know. That's just a theory. A game theory. Thank you for watching. Resurrecting dead memes and terrible humor. Haha, welcome to the Doomed experience, baby. So hopefully I did not forget the shotgun. Oh, I think it's down here, but... death not being an end, being stuck reliving a horrible moment is honestly one of the more terrifying experiences to be in. I think that is 100% what that note is going for, and that ties into a big part of Heather's characterization in Silent Hill 3. Oh my god, I didn't know there was 2 shotgun shells there before just now. Holy shit. That actually helps a lot. Uh-oh. It's a gift wrap box. Could it be for a birthday present? No, I guess not. Nobody I know would give me something so gross. Well, I'll take it anyway. It should come in handy against the monsters. I got a shotgun. Now, this is part of the reason why I like turning off the radio. This is way scarier without the radio, with just the sound, like the little sound sting as you see it. The silence. I mean, Ellen Ripley has what I think it means to be a badass female lead that a lot of modern female MCs tend to be missing nowadays, but I see what you mean in contrast to her and Heather. I agree with that. Like, no, I really like Ellen Ripley as a character. Like, I fucking love Alien and Aliens. And hell, I'll go to bat for Alien 3. Warframe of all games has an excellent quest tied to the theme like that. Honestly, still probably my favorite to this day. I'll have to hit you up on that next time I'm in voice chat, because that sounds interesting. I'd be down to hear about that. Wow, they put me in the game. Don't sell yourself short, man. You're in the gym right now. So... Though, if you do need a wrestling nickname, Rick, the name of this monster is one of the most wild I've ever heard. This is the Insane Cancer. The Book of Lost Memories says, Cancer running wild. So named because its outward appearance is suggestive of a cancerous mass. Obviously, once again, we're gonna have to wait to talk about the symbolism of this thing. But, what is a fun fact is that this is an enemy not designed by any of the art directors. This is the only enemy in the game designed by the game's director, Kazuhide Nakazawa. He's like, yep, I'm putting this in the game. This is my statement to the world. This fucking thing. The subway scene. That always creeped me out. Even to this day, as a 30-year-old woman, it's so fucking scary. Like, this is why I like turning off the radio in this game. And honestly, in all the Silent Hill games, I feel like the radio, in a weird way, actually kind of takes away from some of the scare factor. Just like the dark and seen silhouette now in the stairwell, and just like the hum of the subway track, it's way scarier. It's the Shockmaster! We found him! Alright, let's run. So yeah, he's just snoozing. We'll leave him be. It's the Shockmaster! Still one of the all-time great Botchamania clips is like changing nothing, just put in the Shockmaster. It's still one of the funniest fucking things. Sell myself short. You may not like it, but that's peak male performance. You're right. How could I be so foolish? That is the appearance of our Lord and Savior, Kyrakos Grizzly, the Bloat Lord. Hallowed be his name. So there's a door over here. Lock's broken. Oh god! So, if you remember at the very beginning of the stream, I was talking about how during the nightmare sequence where Heather is hit by a roller coaster and like presumably dies, what I said at the time was pay attention to the symbol and the symbolic meaning of being on a railroad of some sort, object coming towards her. So this is the second time we've seen this exact scenario play out. So the first time, she's on a single track, one-way direction railroad, and when something comes towards her, it hits her and she dies. Second time it happened, same situation, but this time she narrowly avoids it. However, as we're about to see, does she avoid the railroad? She may have avoided her death at his hands, sure. But, oh fuck. Oh god, I forgot about this, like, awful sound design. That's so good, actually. God, the amount of great horror tracks that are used for, like, single rooms in this game is so wild. So she narrowly avoids the oncoming train, the railroad that she's stuck on. She avoids her death at it, sure, but in this instance, she has no choice but to get right on the track again. And she got one direction to go in. Totally out of her control, she's only got one way to go. Enjoy your ride, fucker. I'd rather run into enemies without warning like in other horror games. Completely agree, and it's to the point where I actually am a contrarian. I think the radio was a mistake in Silent Hill. Like, I know it's a part of the series iconography, but I think all of the games are better without the radio on. It's just my opinion, obviously, but what can you do? That symbol's drawn on the floor. Hope I don't get cursed just by stepping on it. I do too about Machinist in Silent Hill 2. Interestingly enough, I think Silent Hill 2's composer was inspired by Trent Reznor, who I think inspired the music for the movie, and... Yes, Trent Reznor and the band Portishead are like the two biggest influences on Yamaoka's style. Basically, like, any of, like, the trip poppy tracks, that's Portishead. Any of, like, the hardcore industrial or, like, ambient tone tracks, that's Trent Reznor. You can, well, it is Yamaoka's own style, but you can most definitely hear the influence. Anything in here? Nope. Don't worry, Michael, I will show that off in just a moment. Get away from me! Oh. Oh, is that the first time I've been hit in the game? But what Michael was saying is this. We can actually go back on the train. Well, let's go back and beat those enemies up. I don't like getting, taking hits. Let's go give them what for. I ought to show them a lesson or two. I'm gonna wallop them. Oh, no. And it does that for every single cart going forward. Such a cool effect. And speaking of cool lighting, this game came out 21 years ago. Not no damage run, time to restart. No, please. Please! Alright, so this guy's too big to run past, so we're gonna ask him to leave me alone. Make like a tree and leave me alone. Oh, he's stuck behind this big guy. He's stuck behind him. Oh, nice detail. If you step in the blood, there's bloody footprints. I'm the old slobber knocker. But just to prove what I'm talking about, very cool. Really like that about this game. Nice. How many shotgun shells do I have now, actually? Okay, I'm armed to the teeth. I'm ready to go. Yeah, there's going to be a certain point where, going forward, we're just going to pull out the pistol and we're just going to start popping enemies. Those little fellas remind me of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. I can honestly kind of see it. I can see Fresno Nightcrawlers, man. Those things are fucking freaky. I miss mid-2000s cryptid videos, man. I love the sounds of those little monsters. I think all of the monster sounds in this game are fantastic. Oh god, he's getting up! Do. Fresno Nightcrawlers. Man, I fucking love Fresno Nightcrawler. That video was like actually like super creepy when I was a kid and I saw it. I was like, oh shit! I do kind of miss when like creepy monsters could look like more abstract like that, because now everything that's like a cryptid is just the rake. If you remember that creepypasta from like the 2000s, like everything is just like, oh, it's the rake. Like, oh, we're designing Wendigos for Until Dawn. Spoilers for that game. Oh yeah, they're just the rake. It's just the rake. It's all the rake. It's never not the rake. That old pattern's painted here among the graffiti. It looks like it was just put here too. But by whom? And why does my head... Where could they be going? They're going to the cryptid ball. I like small details, like the footprints, but I hate when a game more or less prioritizes them over gameplay. Crowcat and his consequences on the game industry can't be forgotten. I do think it's hilarious that Crowcat destroyed his entire career in praise of Shadow Styles when he went after something that basically everyone liked for bullshit reasons. And he just tanked his whole fucking career. It's like he didn't do anything differently. That's the thing. He just decided for once he chose the wrong target and everyone dogpiled him and he couldn't take it. I agree. I definitely can, though I love 9 Inch Nails, though. I thought that was pretty cool. Trent Reznor is my favorite musician of all time. The Downward Spiral is my favorite piece of music ever composed. Close second is The Fragile. I've listened to like every 9 Inch Nails album, probably about 3 times. And Trent Reznor's film composition is some of the best shit I've heard for film. I am something of a Trent head, as they call us. Ah! Alright, so this area... So I've played this game a lot. I'm pretty good with mental mapping. I have no mental map of the sewer. I have no idea when I'm going. I'm just going every time I do this until I get the map. And then when I get the map, I just start looking. Somebody helping? Helping? Or... stalking? Ah! Oh, thank God, okay. Fall 4 playthrough, 9 Inch Nails radio mod for nothing but 9 Inch Nails, no commercial, no announcer, just 9 Inch Nails. Comfy. How can a stalker be in front of you? We'll talk about that after this dungeon. I actually have a little thing about that. It's an alone in the dark door breaking maze. So this is one thing about Silent Hill 3 that it does have more of a sense of humor about itself, but this actually does kind of take me out, is that there's some goofy-ass weapons in this game. Look at this thing! Look at this! It's that! That song, Mr. Self-Destruct from 9 Inch Nails, reminds me of James Sunderland's overall character. It's from The Downward Spiral. Oh, yeah. No, I love Mr. Self-Destruct. You should have heard me back in my karaoke days, like, blasting Mr. Self-Destruct at the top of my lungs. I was terrible. I had a great time. But look at that! I do think it's interesting, because, like, this is basically the animation they used for when James had the, the Pyramid Head knife in Silent Hill 2. Gang stalking. I wouldn't want to be hit with that. Like, dude, no, fuck that. But, like, there's just some very silly weapons in this game. The side of the locker is badly bent, as if something hit it very hard. As a result, it's impossible to open. Gee, I wonder what that could have been, Heather. But, as you can see, there's a big blood splatter on the locker, and on the walls, and on the map. There's a big blood splatter on it. This game, Silent Hill 2 had a little bit of it with the apartment maps that you had to fold, that James folded together, and they were obviously like two separate pieces of paper that he kind of just folded to one. This game is really creative with some of its map choices. There's blood seeping out of the bottom of the locker. Is there something inside? I sort of want to take a look, but the locker door won't open. Nah, it's better that way. It's not as if there's anything good in there. Words to live by. Let's see, is there any items I'm missing here? Are there any goodies? I don't think there's any goodies. Check the map. Okay, yeah, we want to go this way, and then we want to go back. Whee! Alright, we're just gonna go in here. Gonna ignore all these boys. Oh, I'm going through my notes. We're on page 9, and it's kind of insane to me that the sewer, like, I have, like, one thing that I noted about. This entire dungeon is, like, very strange. I don't know. Why in a place like this? Well, I suppose I suppose it's dark and dry. I can talk English good. Only one of the bottles is empty. I got a wine bottle. Let's go. Only one of the bottles is empty? Not for much longer, it's not. Alright, so let's go back the way we came. Do. We're on a stroll. Oh god. Alright, let's check the map. Yeah, we want to go forward, left, right. Okay. I think? No. We actually wanted to go back the way we came there. Fuck, this is why I hate the sewer. No, please! I love Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails, and the album The Downward Spiral. The Fragile is good too. Fragile's great. I also, okay, so like top 5 Nine Inch Nails off the top of my head. Gotta be a big fanboy now. Okay, so Jesus. Okay. All right. That hurt. There we go. Okay, top 5 on top of my head. No particular order. Downward Spiral, The Fragile, obviously. The Broken EP is really strong. We'll talk about these enemies later. Okay, so we got the Broken EP. That's the third good one. Ooh. Do I want to put Pretty Hate Machine in there? Because, like, Pretty Hate Machine has some, like, real classics. And it's very unique amongst the discography because it's, like, very 80s pop still. But, man, there's some amateur stuff on it. Even Trent himself will say, like, there's some amateur shit on Pretty Hate Machine. Despite having the best name of them, Pretty Hate Machine sounds awesome. I'm going to go for a weird one, and I'm going to say Bad Witch. The third of the trilogy EP series that came out, like, 2018, 2019. I think that's a very underrated one, so that's going to be my fourth pick. Gotta pick, no, last one. Do I want With Teeth or Hesitation Marks? I'm going to go Hesitation Marks. No, I'm going With Teeth. Yeah, okay, that's my top 5. Downward Spiral, The Fragile, With Teeth, Broken, and Bad Witch. Boom. Nine Inch Nails top 5 by Doomed. Honorable mention, the Quake soundtrack. Right way, hell yeah. I'm afraid to do karaoke, so am I. That's why I don't do it anymore. It's fun if you go with a group of friends, though. Oh, wrong room. We need to go to the other room. Ah! I will finish Quake this year. If you have the Steam version, like, there's a co-op campaign for Quake for the Steam re-release that they did. Like, I'm down to play co-op Quake again. Like, Default and I did it. We had a lot of fun doing it. I'll play Quake any day. That game rules. Is that anything? No. Ah, there it is. Oh. There we go. And there's some kerosene left in the heater, looks like. If I had some sort of container, I could take it with me. Fortunately, looks like we do. Oil-filled bottle. Alright, let's save the game. I gotta say, I'm really glad with how smooth everything's going today, because it was like a shit show for the first, for the test I did earlier in the weekend for last night. You have it on Steam? Okay, if you have the Steam re-release that they did not too long ago, that version has, like, campaign co-op for, like, 4 people. It breaks the balancing, but who cares? Those sounds creepy as fuck. Agreed. Yes, like, I don't know, the monster sound design in this game is so fucking good. Put kerosene in the fuel tank. Doo-doo-doo. Alright, let's drain the poop. Heather is now mining brown bricks in Minecraft. She loves mine crap. Why did he put Inspector Gadget in the video? What did he mean by this? Quad damage breaks the balancing, but you know what? It's fun as hell, so that's fine. Yeah, admittedly, like, if you just have quad damage on, everything just explodes. It's pretty great. Man, Quake 1 is so fucking good. A part of me... Alright, so this is just like a quick rant time, because I have not talked about this publicly since it was announced at not E3. But man, I'm excited for the new Doom game. I think it looks like it's going back to more of what I liked about 2016 and less of what I didn't like in Eternal. But man, everything about that, like the medieval shit mixed with future tech, that's just Quake. That is just the Quake 1 aesthetic. Why are we still calling it Doom? That's Quake 5. Come on, throw me a bone here. Thanks to that thing, all the water's finally drained out of the hole. It looks like they'll be able to. Looks like I'll be able to get down there now if I can stay on the smell. That is. All right. We're entering the poopy zone. Those albums are good too. Yeah, that's just like my impromptu Trent Reznor top 5. Okay, so we are at almost the 3-hour mark. I don't know if I'm actually making any good progress today. We might do like 4 out. Oh gosh, probably like a 5-hour stream. Death analysis, the poop zone. And now we enter the poopy realm. Trent Reznor's early albums were weak in comparison. Yeah, it's like, I think Pretty Hate Machine's got some bangers on it, but there's some aspects that have definitely aged rough. I think like Down in It, especially, it's like where he like pseudo raps, like ooh, that's not the one there, Chief. No, Downward Spiral is where 9 Inch Nails became 9 Inch Nails, and it's like every track on that album's an absolute fucking banger. Best played start to finish in sequence. Though, if you've never listened to the Downward Spiral and you want the true depth of emotional experience, you need to listen to it while playing Mario Party with your friends. And you beat it when Hurt comes on, and the winner has betrayed them all, and no one trusts anyone anymore. That's the true experience. 3 a.m. Mario Party, listening to the Downward Spiral full blast. Hurt finally plays when everyone's finished the game and all friendships are severed. A wheelchair? Why would a wheelchair be thrown down here? Here it is. You got a dryer. Do. Wait a gosh darn second, wasn't there something here? Little shit like that is why I love this game. Alright, I think we just gotta go over here. Do. Ow. Leave me alone. But yeah, thinking about Pretty Hate Machine again, and because that's how my 9 Inch Nails oddest brain works, is, I can talk a lot of shit about the album as a whole, but something I can never have, and Head Like a Hole still hold up. Head Like a Hole especially is the single best bass line I've ever heard. It's so fucking smooth. Alright, let's save the game. Legitimately, if you want a really good bass line, do yourself a favor, put on Head Like a Hole. So good. Okay. Danger, keep out. This was probably pasted on that door over there. I can see where it fell off. And you actually can. It's the little square bit that's darker than the rest because it is worn or is dusty. Good shit. Good shit. There are documents on the floor, some kind of paperwork. According to this, the two people mentioned in the documents, Jose and Jamie, are dead. Looks like it happened on the job. So this is like the only thing that I have to talk about in the entire sewer level is this note. There's something written on the notebook. There's a monster in the water. The bastards killed 2 of my buddies. I should never have doubted the old urban legend about alligators in the sewers. That was no myth. But no one believes me. They were drunk and slipped? We're not that damn stupid. Even calling it a monster isn't quite right. This is something else. All I know is something's in there. I'm going in now to beat that thing's head in. If you find this note, consider it my will. Revenge is futile, or so you may think, reading this, but Jose and Jamie were my best buddies. Wish I knew how to do the deed. Guns won't work underwater. Even my famous knife work won't do much. If only I had a hand grenade. Famous knife work? Like, are you fucking Bennett from Commando? Like, who is this guy? Alright, so the sewer worker notes. So he's claiming that there's a monster in the sewers, and it's like, oh, it killed his friends. And you know what? We saved the game, so let's just show it off right now. Like, uh-oh, a lot of blood. A lot of blood on both sides. Ruh-roh. What's gonna happen? Uh-oh. So yeah, there's a monster there. What are you gonna do? But more importantly, getting to it. So there's a monster here, sure, whatever. By the way, just to get to it, that's another Silent Hill 1 reference. In Silent Hill 1, in the hospital, there was a tentacle like that, which was feeding on a corpse in front of a puzzle item. And if you approached it, Harry would get grabbed in the same way, dragged towards it, and it'd be a game over. And also in the Nowhere sequence where you have to lock a cabinet so it doesn't do the same thing to Harry and, like, drag him away. Another reference to Silent Hill 1. Just mental bookmark how many goddamn references that game's getting. But more importantly, so the writer of the sewer worker note here, like the sewer worker, he's claiming that Jose and Jamie, they weren't drunk. They couldn't have fallen down and died in an accident. That's a cover-up. There's a monster in the sewers. So, if we're just going obviously on my speculation and my own headcanon interpretation bullshit, obviously it could be fake, about what the notes are, where it's residual elements of trauma that reflect the dreamer's own hang-ups and psyche, to, like, put a mirror to them, essentially. The thing is, and this is a bit of a spoiler going forward, but this doesn't reflect Heather. Heather is a character, she's forgetful, she's like a little lazy path of least resistance. She can be kind of like abrasive and a jerk. The thing is, like the whole denial aspect, like the ability to blatantly deny obvious overt facts because it is discomforting to you. That's not Heather. And I find that interesting because if the whole point of the notes are poke and prod at quote-unquote the dreamer experiencing the phenomenon, could it imply that there is another dreamer and this is reflecting another character's hang-ups? Because in Silent Hill 2 it did establish there could be multiple. James is not the primary host there. There's Angela and Eddie as well. And you get brief glimpses of what their nightmares and their otherworld and Silent Hill experience looks like. Very brief glimpses, but you do get it. Is this a glimpse into someone else's? Or, what could be more of a further spoiler, could there be a merger going on? Is this more than one person's nightmare and one person's dream? Something to think about. We'll talk about that more later. Don't enter the poopy zone again. Listen, we're getting out of here. One moment. Get owned. So, we're off. I don't think we need any melee weapon at this point. We can probably actually just use the guns. What I got for bullets? I got a lot of bullets. We're good. I think the only enemies we're going to kill in the next area are going to be gun only, so... Yeah, we want to go this way. Whee! Oh. God, the sound is terrible. I love it. So once again, straight up, once we get to a brightly lit area where we see those, because there is one in the second half of the game, but there is one, we'll talk about what that enemy is. I think they're actually one of the more visually interesting and symbolically interesting enemies in the game. Because when we get to discuss what the enemy symbolism broadly means in the big reveal in the second half, they're kind of a merger between the two separate themes of what the enemies are going for. And they're the merger of them. And I think it's a really interesting one. They're kind of like a little bridge point enemy. Cool shit. We have escaped the fecal dimension. Now I can only pray that we are free of the goblin universe.